To make the shoulder belt, I had taken the wrap that goes around your waist along the trench coat, and I had cut that off. And the first thing I had to do, because the edges were at triangles, I snipped them. These edges right here, I snipped them flat. Then I glued them shut because they were double-sided. They had an inside, so I glued the end shut. And second thing you have to do is wrap it around yourself over your shoulder and make sure it has extra room. After you wrap it around yourself, figure out where the buckle would belong along his chest, and then cut it there with a lot of extra room. In the end, I did make this a little too small, so give yourself more room. You can always get rid of it later. Please just listen to what I do. I know I thought it was going to be enough, but I still used it regardless. It just wasn't as comfortable. It was a tad bit too tight, but that was wrong on my fault. So just make a little bit more room than you need. Next, what you should do is take some coat hanger wire or copper wire, whichever you have available. Copper wire you can get at the Joann Fabrics or hobby stores or anywhere closest to you. Coat hanger wire, you can just cut off a coat hanger, but you need wire cutters or snips. But you can take some of that and bend it flat into a line. Next, what you should do is take the leather strip you have and hold it up against the wire, and then mark it with your finger, and then keep looking at it and double that with a little bit of extra room. So when you wrap it around into a circle or a square, whichever way you decide to make the buckle, it would fit all the way around with a little bit of extra room. Now take the leather in your hand and hold it up against with the wire in the right corner next to my thumb, to the right of my thumb, which I'm pointing out with my ring or middle finger. Bend that straight upwards. Because bending a coat hanger can be hard and not everyone can do it, including myself, if you have a vise, you can put it in where you want it and then bend it like this. And then do that for all angles. Now that it is in an L shape, you can take about a couple centimeters above where it actually is and bend it so the part on my thumb is parallel and then it looks like a square. Once your square is finished, by using pliers and ending up in the corner with a little tiny hole just with where the wires meet, then you can take some extra wire and flatten it out all the way, and then we can make the pin. Once you bend it as flat as you need it, hold the pin in the middle of the buckle itself and figure out how long you need it. After you figure out how long you need it, pull a little bit down towards the bottom of the buckle and take that little edge, make it long enough so it wraps around the full buckle and then it can't come off in a circle shape. Next, you should slide it through the leather and make sure everything works, that it all moves and the pin moves. And then the next step you should do is make a hole. This is where I messed up because I used some of the slack I had. This is where you should have extra slack so you can pull it through the buckle and then drill a hole or pin a hole or however you decide to make a hole. Use the extra slack and then pull it through. Now that the hole has been made, you can find out a way to secure the leather down. I am going to hot glue it. You could sew it, hot glue it, fabric glue it, any way you want. Now that the buckle has been secured, you can wear it and use the extra slack and then figure out where the holes will be to secure the actual belt, mark them and drill the holes through. Once you have made as many holes as you need, it is now time to make a buckle holder, just wherever you please along the excess leather. After you made the buckle holder onto the belt, you are done. I had taken the bottom part of a leather jacket and cut it off to match the measurements around my waist, and now I'm fabric gluing pieces together. This is a buckle I found that matches Arno's buckle. I'm going to paint it silver. You can make one just out of scrap leather if you don't have one. After it's all fabric glued together, I had taken this buckle and, much like the shoulder belt, wrapped it around, made a hole in it, and then I had taken this scrap piece of leather, wrapped it around, made a loop, fabric glued that together, and then take the other end of the belt and made a triangle edge onto it. After you had done those things that I had said before with the buckle and the edge of the belt, next thing to do to take the glue, or fabric glue or hot glue, whatever, and glue the buckle onto the belt. After you had made the main belt around your waist, it is now time to make these other parts that connect to the right side of your hip and are in separate parts. I'll start with this part, which is on my upper left thigh right there, and it goes around to my waist on this side, right here. Then right here are two buckles that are made out of the same technique that I made on the buckle around my chest. I had taken metal, looped it around, connected it with a circle in the middle, and then looped it around again. So there's four metal squares and two circles, and then the squares get connected by the circles. And I had also found the big button I took off a leather jacket, and those little studs I found at John Fabrics, and I had folded it on the front instead of the back because that's the design of the belts. On the left side of his lower hip, I had made leather straps on the inside to make a holster for the sword so it doesn't move whenever you wear it. Then, as we go along to the back, these two continue, and then the top one is glued on farther than the bottom, so the bottom hangs lower. So then this one's taller, and then this button is identical to the one on the front from the same jacket. I just ripped it off. As we get to the other side, his right hip, I have another little tiny stud on the top, but the trick to connect them all is snaps. So there's one snap there, and then the connector there. And then underneath that, there are two more. So on the very main waist belt, I put one connector. Then the connector there to that one. So that hooks on to there. Just like so. And I had to rip these all off of a jacket. As you can see, there's leather. I cut around it just to give it enough support and glued those on in the respective spots. So that hooks onto there, and this back one hooks onto the back as well. This is now the final product of the belt. It is all completed, and this is what it looks like. I'm now going to put the sword in the gun holster attached. This is the sword going into the holster. So you kind of hold it open, slide it through. So it goes in pretty rough. There it is. And then here it is coming out. Here is the gun being taken in and out. and the sword again. For the holster to be made, I had taken it, put 2 of those snaps on the back and then 2 in the spot I wanted it, and glued them on. Here's the final product of the waist belt and attachments, and then the sword and the holster with the pistol in it. To make the Vambraces, I had taken a sleeve, and I'm going to cut it at a certain point as where I want it, up along my arm, and I'm going to cut this front part off because that's not needed. So that's all you have to do, is just cut it where you want it and then slide it along your arm. I had went to Home Depot and got a pair of rubber gloves that look like they're leather, and they feel pretty comfortable. But if you can get leather gloves or any kind of gloves you want, go ahead. But I found these for $5 at Home Depot, so I took them. As for the hidden blade, I had not made my own design. If you want to make one from scratch with a drawer slide, go and find my brother's video in the playlist. I will also link that in the description. I had made one from AC Creations. I will link his video in the description as well. He has made a great hidden blade model, and this is how it works. I put my main straps just off of leather and buckles, and put it underneath my hidden blade with my glove on. It worked out really well. It's a gravity hidden blade, so it works like that. And then you just raise your arm. There it is underneath. Then you raise your arm to put it back in, so it doesn't fall out. And the straps just wrap around your glove.